Hello. Hopefully, I can get some people to join so we can chat tonight. Um, I'll just wait a few seconds, see if anyone joins. But I think I'm going to move on quickly because I have a lot to say and I want to say it in as short of a time as possible. So today was a really, really rough day. Actually, I've been having a rough week, period. I've been struggling to get out of bed. So many things are going on because of some decisions I had to make last week and this week. So last week I talked a little bit about ECT and what it's done in my life, how I'm having some cognitive issues and memory retention issues and all kinds of things are happening to me. Even motion sickness, like just a lot is going on. So I talked to my doctor last week and she is sending me to a location that can do, I think she called it like neurological, psychological testing. It's basically to test where you're at, like as far as your cognitive abilities, whether you're able to read for comprehension, recollection of memory, both short-term and long-term. It's just a series of tests to see where you're at. Because I've been really, really struggling at work and in other areas of my life. Like this literally happens everywhere where I just forget everything. If I don't do something in the moment, like if I think of something like, oh, I have to, make a shopping list. If I don't set a reminder to do it later, or if I don't get working on it right away, there's like a really high chance that I'm never going to get it done until the next time I remember it, which may be too late. So some things were happening. As I got my memory back, I was really, really excited about it because I thought, oh, okay, so it's just going to take a little bit of time and I'll go back to who I used to be. And that quite didn't happen. So I had a lot of trouble at work trying to learn what I needed to learn to do my job, because I had just started that role. I had been with the bank for 15 years. I should say I've been with the bank for 15 years and I've learned a lot along the way, but I had just started that job about 3 months prior to the first time that I got sick in October. So I didn't have a lot of recollection of what I had learned up until then. And then when they were trying to teach me recently, I just couldn't. I did everything under the sun. I tried every trick. I wrote notes with bullets and details, and I would ask a lot of questions and prepare myself to think ahead, shorten my meetings so that I can actually focus, because after about 15 to 20 minutes I'm gone. And so I tried all these tricks and it just wasn't working, which is why I talked to my doctor last week and said, can you help me? Like I something's really wrong. Like I need help. And I didn't even think there was anything available, but she said she could send me for this testing and then we can take it from there based on the results. So I had my first I have a consultation tomorrow. It's a 45-minute consultation to see if I'm eligible for the next step, which is a 3-hour test. And I'm really hoping that everything goes well and they can test me and we can figure out what's going on, because I would really like those parts of my brain back. But with that said, I've been struggling this week and most of last week because I had to go on a leave of absence again. Today was my first official day because I'm not able to perform the work. And so it's really unfair for me to be going to work every day and not able to function or properly do the work and get paid. And I really need to focus on my health and trying to get better. So it was decided that a leave of absence would be in the best interest of both myself and, obviously my employer, because they're... Anyway, that's not the point. So today was my first day. I cried a lot this week because I didn't really want to leave. Like I love my job. I really do. But we all know that it's best right now. But sometimes, you just don't have expectations that certain things will happen in your life, or you didn't see it coming ever. And so when these things happen in our lives, these life events that change our world, um, it can have quite an effect on you and the way you feel. Like it affects you. So for the past few days, I've been struggling because I want to be working, but I have to be home right now. But I've had a positive attitude too, and I know that it will work out. I know that God has a plan for my life. I believe that. Again, I'm a Christian, so if these things that I talk about offend you, then this is definitely not the page for you. And I'm not meaning that in an insulting way, but it's just who I am. And so for me, I know that God has my back no matter what. It doesn't always look pretty, but he has my back. So I've been really trying to focus on not worrying about, where finances are going to come to support my recovery. And what things are going to look like, how long is this going to take? Like, I've been really just trying to say to God, I know you have my back, and I know that you will take care of us. You will take care of my family, and you will make a way for us. So I've been trying to really focus on that, but I slip up because I'm not perfect. And so I have times where I cry, or I get anxious and I start worrying about things. And I have to reel myself back in and tell myself, okay, you can't control that. You can't do anything about it right now. So stop worrying about it. It's a constant battle. I was telling my husband earlier, it's literally like you have two people inside telling you different things. And it's crazy. Like I experience a lot lately where I'm just like extremely happy and sad at the same time over the same situation. And it's like, how's that even possible? So anyway, yesterday when I left work, I was like crying really bad. We went out, cleared our heads, and it ended up being a good night. But today when I woke up at 6. I put my alarm actually for 8 to sleep in a little bit, but I was up at 6 because of habit. But I woke up like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was ready for like a productive day. I already had plans of like, cleaning up a little bit, organizing, whatever, things to keep me busy. But I couldn't get out of bed. It was already like 8:30 and I could not get out of bed. And my husband came upstairs multiple times and said like, come on, let's go. Let's just go out. Let's do something, get out in the fresh air. And I'm thinking, I know I asked you to help me, but get out my face. Like that's what was going through my head. I know that I really, really wanted you to help me and support me and drag me out of bed, but you're really irritating me right now. Get away. But I didn't say that because that would not be nice. So I kept hiding under the covers because what I do when I'm feeling like depression is winning is I hide. And I said that on purpose. I didn't say when I feel depressed because it's not really a feeling. It exists. It's a thing. So when I'm feeling like depression is winning, I hide. I hide under my covers. I hide in my bed. My bed is my safe place, or like the couch. I haven't been able to walk into my living room for months because it reminds me of all the months that I spent on the couch under a blanket, and it freaks me out. So now I'm just haven't been able to like walk in there. I'm working on that, but so yeah, I was having a tough morning, and he came in and he made a joke. It was typical him, and it's the stuff that used to really irritate me back in the day, but now it makes me laugh. So he said to me, if you haven't seen it, he said, come on, if you get up right now, like right now, you get dressed and we leave right now, I will take you to the mall and I will buy you anything you want. Like limitless. And I'm like, where are you getting the finances for that? I'm like, you don't have that kind of money. And he's laughing, and I'm like, what's the catch? Because there's always some weird catch when he says these kind of things. And he's like, well, the mall's closed right now. And I'm thinking, oh, right. So I laughed. At first I was like, here I am, super depressed, and that's what you tell me. But then I was like, I gotta give him credit. So I got up because it was only fair, in my opinion, that I get up for that effort. So I get up, but I had posted something on my stories basically saying that I was having a hard day and telling his joke. And someone near and dear to me reached out and said, hey, you know, a bunch of us moms are getting together and we're going to the park. You should come. And at first I was like, I don't think I'm good to be around people today. But then she mentioned like the babies will make you smile, and I love babies, especially because like I don't, you know, like I get to love them and give them back. It's so fun. And all the babies from my church are so cute. So I thought about that. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So I talked to my husband and I'm like, hey, you know, somebody mentioned this. He's like, yeah, you should go. And I'm like, I should go. But before that, we decided to go to Lowe's and have a small little date. So it turned into let's go shopping for paint, but then it turned into, you know, like, well, let's go shopping for like really expensive showers and kitchens and bathtubs that we aren't getting right now, but when we have our dream house, we're getting it. And we did that, and it was so fun. It was so fun and so serious that we were taking it that salespeople kept coming up to us because we looked eager to buy, but I felt bad because we were like, no, we're just dreaming. To which one salesperson really laughed, but I was like, hey, if you don't dream, what's the point? So we did that. We had fun. I went to this outing with the moms. That was so much fun. The kids were so cute. It was windy, but the sun was out, and I was just thanking God for friendships and thanking God for people who reach out to me. Actually, I forgot to mention that 2 other people had reached out saying like, what's going on with your life, and, you know, where are you at? And when, you know, everybody was kind of like egging me on to go do something. So I love that. I love that I have friends that do that, that take the time to send a 2-second text saying, you know, how are you? And is there anything I can do for you? Anything that, you know, somewhere we could go that'll be cheerful. So yeah, I did that. And then we went to therapy. I have therapy on Thursdays, individual therapy. That was not fun. There was a lot of crying. I'm currently doing what's called exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is where you talk about a really traumatic event in your life in full detail, including any smells that you remember, any thoughts that you remember having in the moment, feelings, colors, you know, your environment, period, like anything you can remember. And today when I was sharing this experience, there were things that I started remembering that I hadn't remembered before, certain smells, certain fears, certain thoughts. And it was just a crying mess for 45 minutes. And yeah, Thursdays are like my favorite day, but they're not my favorite. So fine, I go, I get into the car, and I'm like, my eyes are swollen, and I say to my husband, like, I really don't want to go home. And I really felt like I had like this, I don't know how to explain it, but like this pull, like I don't want to go home, which is not typical. Like I love being home, and that is dangerous for me. So that's why I have plans to make sure that I get out daily and not fall back into that. So for me to have said like I don't want to go home was kind of unusual. So he's like, okay, do you want to go split a gyro? And my first thought is like, but our finances. But my second thought is like, we don't do stuff like that all the time. It may appear like we do, but we really don't. You know, we live on a budget and we have to be very careful with that. But once in a while, we like to go eat something, you know, a $5, $6 something. So I didn't want to like be rude to him because he tries so hard, and sometimes I shoot him down, not because it's personal, but because it's easy to, right? The people we love understand us the most, and they wouldn't really be offended at us saying, I don't want to go out. But sometimes, I mean, if you think about it, you're really trying to help somebody. Like, geez, come on, throw me a bone. So we went, and it was great. We had a great time. We laughed. It was fun. We leave. And as we're walking down the street, it's a beautiful day. And I'm talking about how much I love Thayer Street because it reminds me of New York. And we have been talking about some other dreams in the place that we went to eat. So it was all like, you know, very hopeful. And so we're walking down the street and we see a homeless man sitting against a pole. We never have money on us. We use cards. So my husband says, oh, we don't have money to give him. And I'm like, I'm thinking as we're walking closer, I'm like, I tell him, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to walk past this man and not do something like that. I've never really been able to do that. And anyone who knows me from like my childhood, I've always been the person who would like give the homeless person the last sandwich that I had so that they could have something. It's always been like a part of me. And I immediately hear like, well, you have a card, buy him food. There's so much food around here. So my husband says like, if you want, we could cross the street, you know, because he's trying to protect my emotions. And I'm like, no, let's buy him food. Let's see if he wants food. So we walk up to this guy and we ask him like, can we buy you food? And he's like, yeah, I'll take food. So we're like, okay, well, where do you want it from? You know, we'll get it for you. Don't worry about it. And he says that he wants Antonio's pizza, which I'm thinking, there's so much better you could get. So I start introducing like, do you want this? Do you want that? I'll buy you this. Now, mind you, I don't have much in our account. Like there was very little in our account. But I was like, whatever. Who cares? It's not the last of it that I'll get. So I need to do something for this man. So he's like, no, I want Antonio's. And I'm like, okay, we're cool. So it didn't even dawn on me because I'm used to like New York and stuff like that to like ask him to walk with us. Plus, you know, it gets scary. Let's just be honest. You don't know people. You don't know what they're about. So we're like, okay, we'll be right back. What do you want? You know, whatever you want, tell us, you know, what do you want to drink? And he's like, well, can I go with you? And I'm like, wow, I feel like an idiot. Of course you can go with us. And he tells us that he's been sitting there all day and nobody's really helped him, which breaks my heart. And I get the whole thing, but that's not the point of this message, this video. So we're walking with him and he sees my hat. Now, mind you, this hat is like I'm so depressed. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be like the perfect Christian. Like I try, but nobody's perfect. This is I'm hiding and I don't want to put on makeup and I don't want to do anything with my hair. So, but I need to leave my house. So this is what I'm going to put on. But he looks at it and he says, oh, New York. And we're like, yeah, you know, I say that we're from New York originally. He's like, oh, you know, I lived there for a while. That's not what he said. He said my ex-wife was from there. And, you know, he's talking about different places like the Bronx where I grew up. And we're having this conversation. And we find out that he's been homeless. Him and his girlfriend have been homeless for 4 years. It's been a rough road for them. And they're currently staying in a hotel in Bristol, mind you. So they have to do a lot of busing. That's like $47 a night. So his plan right now, because he can't really get a job, is to leave her there so she's protected and him go out into the street and try to make at least $47 a day. That broke me because I have a lot going on, but I can't imagine that living like that. Like, I guess I can. This is live and unscripted, so I'm sorry. Maybe I'll go in another direction, but I guess we all can in some ways, right? We all have those bills that we don't know how we're going to pay. Maybe I shouldn't say we all, but a lot of us do. If you're one of those people who struggles like me, drop your favorite comment in there. But some of us don't know how we're going to pay our bills. Some of us don't know how we're going to make rent. Some of us don't know how we're going to pay the mortgage. Some of us don't even know how we're going to stock our fridges. And some of us are like literally a paycheck away from this man's situation. And my heart was like totally crushed. So, you know, we order him his pizza. We're talking to him. And it was weird because I was about to sit down and like hang out until I realized like, I think he wants privacy when he eats. So we decided to leave against my will. But we asked him if we could pray with him. And he didn't like look enthused. So I said, you know, are you comfortable with that? If you're not, that's fine. And he's like, no, you can pray. And we prayed for him. And honestly, I'm not tooting my own horn because I'll get to what I think in a few minutes. But I didn't even realize anybody else in the room. And I don't think my husband did either. It was literally us and this man and somebody that gave us the pizza. It was a genuine connection, a genuine conversation, a genuine concern. Like he felt very open to talk to us, and it was different. It was a different experience than I've ever had. And we left, and I didn't cry, and I didn't feel the need to take a picture with him. None of that. We left. And I looked at my husband and I said, wow, obedience. I'm learning so much about the importance of obedience to God. And this is why I said, if you're not into this, this may not be the video for you. But let's look at the day. So I've been learning obedience and submission to my husband. And if anybody sees this who's my friend, they're going to be like, what are you talking about, submission? Like, no, we don't do that. We're feminists. We're independent. We have jobs. Yes, all those things are true. However, I've realized that now, without getting into too much detail, our marriage has been restored, and it's very different than it ever has been. But we went through a lot to get there. And I've never been able to be submissive because I had so many hurts from my past that didn't allow me to ever trust men or do anything that they told me to do. Why would I? I had been betrayed so many times that the world had taught me that men are not safe and they're unreliable, and you can't, what's the word? I'm sorry. Give me a second. You can't let them control things because then you are vulnerable and something bad will happen. That's what the world taught me specifically. So I've always had a very hard time with that part of the Bible. And I love the Bible and I love the Word of God, and I try so hard to follow the things because I know that it's true. In my heart, I know that it's true. But there's just some areas where I'm stuck, and it's because I haven't healed from my past. But I've been working on the healing, and in return, I've been able to be more submissive without even thinking about it. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, let me submit to my husband. Like, no, it's more like I just do what he says. I leave more decisions to him. I'm actually following what the Bible says, and it's become so easy that I don't even realize when I'm doing it. And why am I bringing that up? You're probably like, what does that have to do with depression or anything? Well, here's how it worked for me today. I was stuck in bed, and my husband told me several times, you need to get out of bed. And I wanted to fight him, but I didn't. I listened, and I got up out of bed, and I went and did what he suggested we do. And then I asked him, what do you think about me going to hang out with these mom friends? And his answer was, yeah, I think you should do it. It wasn't like, can I please go out? It's more like, hey, what do you think? Because we're in this together. And if you wanted to hang out today and spend time with me, then we'll do that. But if you're okay with me going and you think it's a great idea, let me know. And so I did that. And then, everything else kind of aligned, right? So we go to therapy. I say I don't want to go home. He says he wants to go spend money. Normally, I'd be like, not a good idea. And I'd probably say something nagging, like, we're supposed to be careful with money, and I'd be ridiculous. And instead, I shut my mouth and I was like, okay, let's go. We're not going to die if we spend, $7. And it was all leading up to that moment where we were able to bless this man, but really be blessed ourselves, because he taught me so much about life, about where we're at in society, about how blessed I truly am, about compassion and what that really looks like, about being able to have a conversation with somebody that terrifies you. Like, we walked side by side, this guy, and I had my fears because of past experiences, but I had to really trust that God was in it. And like, all these wonderful things happened through the day because I submitted to my husband. It was all in my view is that it was all part of God's plan. And I didn't succumb to depression, and I didn't give into it because I had an amazing support person who was telling me, don't do it. And I could have easily, but I didn't. And I was allowed to be a blessing to someone else. We were allowed to be a blessing to someone else because of that. And not to mention, when we were leaving, I think it was like 2:00, and we had till 3:30 on the parking meter. And some guys were pulling up, and my husband was like, give them the ticket. So we gave them the ticket. They were like students. So they're like, hey, we got parking. And I'm like, wow, that's a blessing on Thayer Street. So all of that was to say, find some good support system in your life who has the same values as you, who's not afraid to say, get out of bed, who's not afraid to drag you out of it, who's not afraid to listen to God and help you based on what God says. Depression is so hard, even for Christians. It is so hard. It is so painful. It is not easy. It is work if you're fighting it, but you can do it. Like, I had the worst and best day of my life today. And it's not really even over. Other things have happened since then. But the point is, you can do it. When with the right people by your side and with God by your side, you will get through it. And it's one day at a time. And some days are great and some days are not so great. But you have people who want to help you. Always keep that in mind. And this video is also intended for the people who help, who maybe don't even understand mental illness, but they're there and they send the quick text to say, hey, you want to hang out, or hey, what's going on with you today? How are you feeling? Or we'll drag you out of the bed. I had several people that were willing to do that today. You are so important in the recovery of someone like me. Don't give up. Don't feel like your words go on deaf ears. Don't quit. Keep pushing. Keep loving more than anything. And keep encouraging the person that you're trying to take care of. So I hope I got everything out, and I hope it was not confusing, because it was very, I didn't have a lot of bullets, but I think I got through all of it. I love you guys. I'm so thankful for you watching. I'm so thankful for your support. I'm thankful for all the messages I get after this with your own thoughts. So have a good night.